the idea is I need to look at different models, what is working for different companies, and
Yeah,
that's why I chose three frameworks. One is R framework, and
yeah,
another one is focused on retention. So that
yeah,
is a RARA framework, and then
yeah,
HART framework.
yeah.
So
No,
within these three models, how
yeah,
companies have been successful, and yeah, the main purpose of this interview with you to understand from your experience, how did you acquire customers when you started your business, or when you started growing, and how did you retain them, and what were your challenges, and how did you overcome, and eventually, like you have already proposed, what is your view, so that I will look into it, and then so I can consolidate. Okay, so this is the experience from your side, and this is your futuristic view. So that's how I'm going to propose this paper.
yeah. That's good. But to see what I did, there's two elements. This more the ideal view, what it could be in the future. And that is what I try to do a little too. Adopt some of the hard model, and maybe around this model, the other three models, what you're doing is a good element. And I combine that even with more a model, what we see also there, what Kelly is doing in the what remain fit for purpose is okay, uh, make it friendly for the human, take another element, take the cultural element in. And he brings this, it's what Bernie Kelly is doing. He brings strong the cultural elements in. Are you
Mm.
happy with the social? How it's going? Now, all those elements I do. Now, and then second, how I'm doing my business today, that is traditional. But I try to do my business today with modern technology.
Yeah.
And that is difficult because the organization is opposite. That is what also Clayton Christensen mentioned. I talked with you when he was on my office. We talked before on disruptive innovation, and we see the CEO of an organization is only interested in vested shares.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And if you are a big organization, if you are the CEO of Philips, what you do today is only the ratio because everything you change is not your value. If
Mm.
you change a little, your vested shares are going little down tomorrow. Therefore, you like not to change.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. And even startups companies have already these problems because they how to fix money, how to take all this stuff, blah blah blah. No, disruptive innovation means you go deep and you do a totally change. But
Yeah.
you have to do it with old experience. That's disruptive
Yeah.
because you take your old experience, you throw them away, you burn your ships, and you start again. But then you start again that the old way of business, you like to adopt that with new technology.
Okay. Yeah,
And
clear.
it means a new technology does not understand the old business. The kids of Google have no idea what ERP means. And the old guys have the Conway law,
Yeah.
and they do not know how to change from it. Now, that means what we did. Now, and I, in my life, three times, at least two times, I changed totally from Baan company, going to BPM to Chorus, and
Yeah.
did everything on business process. But now I go more from the business, I go now to the supply chain, and it is the human. Now, technology should not be the key driver, but technology is important because suppose that we did some things and then we implement it with a horse and we have a car around the horse with wheels. Now, and the horse can make a speed of 6 kilometers an hour. Now, the same elements could even drive with a speedy car with 150 kilometers an hour. Now, but we need the same business processes. Now, therefore, we should not ignore new technology because new technology bring a totally change,
Yeah.
even with Gen AI and everything.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
technology does not understand all business, and can never be implemented if we do not understand the attitude of the human.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. Yeah.
Now, and that is now, first of all, that is the most crucial part for me to selling it. And how to do it is more, what I should say, more land and expand.
Mm.
Because it is too complicated to do it with a sales rep.
Yeah.
sales reps do not understand, and they even have no interest in it. They do not understand it. And it's more done by pre-sales, but by pre-sales, you do not have contact.
Yeah.
When the contact is coming. Now, the more and more what I see with you and what we're doing, you can adopt these models to bring more methodology in it.
Mm.
But today it's only the methodology, but there's no connectivity
Mm.
with modern IT.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing now. And that's what I'm doing. The first way is what I'm now doing is say land and expand. And show some things, do it 10 times better, and show some things that you can do more. And step by step, and integrate the old part.
Okay.
What I have to do is always have to transfer the business from old to new. That means I cannot replace everything new.
Mm. Yeah.
I have to adapt the old one and step by step incorporate them, but not have the bespoke part. Now, that's the big problem. If you look to SAP HANA, that's the most terrible problem.
Yeah.
Now, people will be totally misleaded because for this maybe the next time SAP can do it, but then you are more locked in again and you never come out.
Yeah.
And it costs you sometimes 50 million to maybe to make it happen or so.
Yeah, so it is expensive. If I understand from your view, so you disrupt the technology and you want to combine the backbone of the old school plus disrupting the new technology
Exactly.
and bring it to human value. So that's your strategy for
And
acquiring.
for doing that, there's no in the traditional world, the CIOs, the CTOs, managers are involved, but we have to change managers to make manager of managers to manage and to change them in the transmission and transferring it.
Mm.
And the manager is now looking what's in for me, ego driven, but it should be steward service leadership. The total leaders, the change leaders should change and make the leaders and make changing leaders.
Yeah, I understand, like, the customer acquisition part you want to disrupt, and how
Yeah.
do you retain the customer, like the customer retention part. So this is attracting the customers, like, you're doing something new, and then, you are disrupting it, and you are offering something which
Yeah.
major players could not offer, like,
Yeah.
SAP HANA or, any other players.
And Oracle the same. Now,
Yeah.
the only element to do this is I have to evangelize, and what I'm now doing is on a new way, not spend billions, millions for marketing.
Mm.
Try to be united with smart people in the world
Mm.
who could do podcasts together. And instead of the gardeners, it's better to have a podcast with smart people. You learn 10 times more and free. But
Yeah.
then you need people with a little reputation. Now, that is what I'm doing. I take some analysts, some guys who are with me willing, and some other people, like you could be one. Another one could be this Bernie, who understands the human part. Another one who understands what is the way of IoT. Another one who understands a little Industry 4.0. And I like to unite them all together. And I
Yeah.
believe I have the framework a little. I'm an old man. I did it already for 45 years in ERP, and are still able to move therein. Now, one is this document what I'm sending you. And it's done in only 2 hours now this morning, but after 45 years of experience. Now, if I can explain in a podcast from 1 or 2 hours with 3 other people the document, now then everyone should knock on my door and say, please, 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 can you help me? Now, they should bring me flowers. Normally, we do the marketing, the stupid one. We misleaded people. Like what SAP is doing, they're misleading people and they're coming more in the slump. And you are afraid because what to do? You are not too ground to fear a zero situation. You do not understand it. And then the Conway law, you again go from the old world with the same vendor in the new world.
Yeah.
We should need a breakaway. For the breakaway, the business should continue. That means we need only a few apps on top of what I did in what I did here. Say with some guys, what they say, even Vallejo. I mentioned you, Vallejo, 110,000 people, 115,000 people, 40,000 SAP users, and we built small apps on them.
Mm. Yeah.
And they have the knowledge, they know the limitation of ERP, and they know how to do some things in new microservices, and we were able to build them and connect them. Now,
Yeah.
that was an adopting element in only one of the few ones international companies, but most people are too lazy. And the CIOs are not interested because it disturbed again their market cap for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, actually, I see an interesting aspect from you. Like, you don't spend, more money on advertisement or branding or marketing. Rather, you go with industry experts, and then you do it completely different way. So in a way, you can also share your wisdom, the ancient wisdom, I would call, and also you are taking the disruptive technology along with it, and at the same time, you can also attract new customers for.
Exactly. Now, the two elements what you mentioned, I can share my wisdom. I call it the knowledge became wisdom after 45 years. And I can do it with those ones who don't oversee it totally, but are experts in the area.
Yeah.
I challenge them and I make it an eye opener with them. I say, hey, we together, now they know more than I know together, but we assemble them. I
Yeah.
assemble the knowledge. The customer is too early because the customer, even like Chief Jobs, built some things and he could not communicate with the customer.
Mm.
You are a little, the customer does not understand it yet.
Mm.
So as a buyer. Now, you could have some companies who do some things where we also do, but I need first the experts now, and then convince and then build some small microservices for
Mm.
the user to convince them.
Yeah.
Now, and then we bring them together.
So this is your strategy for attracting the customers. And so how do you acquire new customers? Like,
Difficult, yeah. You do it normally in the way, and I decided not to do it again because I sacrifice everything. And let me say it this way. What you normally do, you build an MVP product,
yeah.
and you have fancy capital around you. And then to a certain point, they give 10 million for you, and they like to have then 70% of your shares. And the
Mm.
10 million is going to the EBITDA, and you do a lot of stuff, and then you're growing a little with your MVP, and then 3 years later, you have some little more.
Mm.
And it costs you a lot of money, and on the end, you have only 10% of your idea yourself. Now,
Mm.
I do it with my own money. I sacrifice my own money. So
Mm.
far, I'm a venture capitalist.
Mm.
It gives you more time value for more time. On the
Yeah.
same moment, I learned in the past, oh, take care. If it is only your money, is risky. If you need other ones, take care that the company becomes EBITDA positive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have big ideas and then you lose all the shares. Now, an EBITDA positive is not with subscription, but you do it first with projects who benefit for leading companies. There's lower market cap,
Yeah.
but who cares? I do it with my own money still.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
if I in 5 years come from nothing to say $12 million revenue, I have then already something in my reputation. Now that can go to $100 million subscription in a few years. Now, so then maybe I can take a little help and I take another investor with 20% and I spend extremely a lot of money in marketing. But why
Mm.
should I do it? Maybe I can spend more time in it podcast
Mm.
with other
Podcast.
people. Take a little more time because all we do it for market cap and then we throw it out.
Mm. Okay.
Why should we not do it more? Because if you take OutSystem as an example, or Mendix, OutSystem is a competitor of me. Now, maybe they have now a market cap of 8 billion. They
Mm.
do maybe 300 million revenue.
Mm.
Now, but they acquired 500, half a billion money, acquired them all the years.
Mm.
And therefore, the owner have only now 40% or so. But this half billion was moving to the organization and hundreds of people came in, no, and all greedy, and they're
Mm.
not united together, and the company is not one entity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understood that. So what I can learn from you, like, so you sacrifice your own money so that you'll get more freedom to reinvent things, and then yeah, so you know your way how you can broadcast your ideas, and then automatically you get the customer attraction. And what I liked in your idea, like, so you just target enterprises by spending your money and then creating more value. So
Yeah, but
creating
an element, I can only go to enterprises now having a reputation.
Mm.
I have been Jan Baan and being leading with SAP, and I've been there one of anywhere the founding fathers of ERP.
Mm.
Without that name, I could not go to enterprises. They do not believe
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that's true.
You meet some benefits from the past, but I've sacrificed my success.
Mm.
Instead of adopting more money, I let it go and
Yeah.
reinvest. But now I have double benefit, maybe not from a money standpoint, with my reputation, with the BPM part, and now with this microservice, and now with Google. And Google likes me because I can connect the enterprise to Google.
Mm.
Now, that is then the smarter play, I think, in marketing. Let Google pay the money, they have money enough.
Yeah.
If they have reputation enough. And if Google supported me
Mm.
and bring them together, then we can take interesting new leading companies and
Yeah,
going in.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Your approach is completely different. Yeah, so you want to yeah, you build the idea, and you have the right reputation and connect with right people, and then you find who is leading in the industry, and then you take their reputation, and then in turn it brings more value to your products. And what I see,
But
you bring, yeah.
maybe for 1 minute, but now I did it without models.
Mm.
But now your models can bring a lot now for me to have it in a whole concepts. Everything can be productized. And
Mm.
the model is your model is defining the ideal situation of the of the job to be done.
Yeah.
But the model is not complete, in my opinion. I saw another model, and that was more the human side of the model. What I connected this
Mm.
morning for you,
Yeah.
because that is what I learned from Bernie, interesting elements, and I learned new elements, and
Mm.
you are very specialized in these other three models. Now, if we can unite that again better, and
Mm.
suppose that my model of disruptive innovation uh, could be more described in a better way or adopted with these models.
Mm. Okay, so at the end, it has to connect with the human touch
Yeah,
and making it more simplified,
yeah, and scalable.
scalable. Yeah.
Also for scalable that you can copy it easy, and
Mm.
then because at the end you like to become a unicorn.
Yeah, that's true. So now I got your view on the retention part, and so how do you activate customers? Because this is the way you activate your new customers, and how do you generate revenue for those who are using your products? So what
Now
would be value added?
that's crucial. The revenue was done by services.
Mm.
And people say, oh, that's not good because you have only one times, two times revenue market cap.
Mm.
But the service is for me free innovation.
Mm.
It's adopting of innovation. And I should make money for only for service for those companies who contribute to my IP.
Okay.
The maybe the simple element is that you do services who brings no IP for you, then
Mm-hmm.
okay, then you can live, and then you can and the other half of the people can then do development from what the service are doing. But the
Mm-hmm.
service should be the first adopted customer.
Okay.
That means the first implementation is done on a service matter with innovative customers.
Okay. The first early adopters, you mean to
Yeah.
say?
And I have my, especially on my Rappit product, is generating 80% of the source code. And in my Rappit product, a Java programmer is 4 times more effective.
Yeah.
That means I can do it 4 times more effective than the customer themselves.
Mm.
At the beginning, the customer is not paying me money for the tools. We do it with my people in Combatur.
Mm.
I have 200 engineers in Combatur, and where most are then on service project, but in the view of this innovation part. Therefore, we focus. We say we do it not for healthcare yet. We do
Mm.
only for logistics. Others can do it for healthcare.
Yeah. So you are applying in a specific industry and then applying the knowledge. And so if I understand from your view, like you try to create intellectual properties, and then so that will generate the
Yeah,
revenue.
on the end, on the end.
Mm. Okay.
And but the intellectual property belongs to me in
Mm.
knowledge, and it is a service for my customer.
Okay. Yeah.
And the customer should not have a vendor lock-in.
Yeah.
That's the crucial part. Maybe that's the modern part where we differentiate from Mendix out systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the end, generating is pure Java open source. And
Mm.
that means the customer, therefore, these big customers like Vallejo doesn't like out systems Mendix because we are locked in.
Mm.
And they like me because they give me knowledge for my intellectual property, but they are also not locked in with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's a crucial part. Otherwise, you cannot go to these big innovative customers.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah. So one thing is clear to me, like so you are attracting customers in a different way. So are there any other approaches you attract customers directly? So these are the indirect approaches, like you build your product and you just make it as a differentiator, and then you create intellectual properties. It brings more value, and
Yeah.
when you go to the customers, how do you find or attract new customers other than podcasting, or because these are all the indirect channels, like when you are doing it, automatically the customers will get to know, like so something is new happening, and so somebody has to approach them, right? Or
Yeah. Two elements. In the beginning, you have to do it yourself, but then you have to franchise with others. And I believe in small boutique ISVs around the world who
mm,
are already involved with smart customers and understand it. Yes, these unique guys, like Paul Coetzee, or some people are real smart,
mm,
understanding big enterprise, but are small.
mhm,
If those are connecting, but in the beginning, I should have done it myself before. That
mm,
means first you need a launching customer. And in this launching customer, you yourself should be friendly, be involved for
mm,
the end-to-end part. I give lectures to them. I try to be serious to them. I do a pre-sales, and they
mm,
give me even no money in the beginning. And
mm,
they are not the bosses in the beginning. They have their bosses up. But if a smart executive is willing to listen to me and say, "Oh, wait a moment, maybe I can convince my boss for a small POC, for a
mm,
proof of concept." And then the proof of concept, I should do it 10 times better than everyone else can do.
mm.
And
Okay.
then it gives you a little awareness. And
Mm,
then we have an entry point, and it is land and expand. But
mm,
the entry point is the most difficult part because no one has done it before.
mm,
We travel on roads where there are no footsteps. What
mm.
I'm doing, I have not seen one before.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do it myself, and
Mm,
there you have to convince this customer. And then
mm,
you can convince these small ISVs, the real knowledgeable guys, they are on their own. They're not
mm,
working with Capgemini
mm.
or with Accentures. No, they are better than the partners by Capgemini.
Yeah.
Uh, and now that is also, I believe, a new model
Mm,
where it's maybe kind of franchising model where you
mm.
can do much more with indirect people than with a large enterprise.
Okay, yeah. So I see, yeah, you're completely taking a different approach in the customer acquisition, and so you explained about the franchising,
Yep.
and not only franchising, and also you wanted to uh, first prove your concept and then go for the franchising. It's not like starting with the franchising.
Yeah, because the franchising, they do not know how to make money with my tools yet. I have to show it.
Yes, yeah,
And
okay.
then they see, oh, hey, I can be different and I can do it myself with other small partners around me, some small system integrators around me, who
Mm,
even can be their franchise partners already. And if
mm,
you're anywhere in South Africa or you're in Australia or so, or you're in Singapore,
mm,
or why could you not do it there? It
mm,
should not be the American way only. Now, and then you can block an SAP HANA installation.
mm,
And then or you accepted the only vanilla part of Oracle, of HANA, of SAP, or Microsoft. You take the vanilla part, what it is, and then step by step you go for the new world only with microservices.
mm. Yeah.
Or you take the vanilla part as a cloud solution, but not too much. Never take HANA and take it anywhere together with all the other SAP tools. You are more in a slump.
Okay. Yeah. That's clear, Ian. Yes, I think we are almost on time. So I would like to
If,
add.
if you need, I could have a little more time, but up to you. Maybe you have.
So I would like to ask a few more questions. Like, yeah, so we covered the R framework. Like, so how did you experience your acquisition, and also like you talked about.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was these frameworks. Yeah, I was impressed with these frameworks because they have a lot of methodologies when they're coming together. And
yeah,
I like to see more, and it could be a next time, a little next visit, that you try a little to
yeah,
look to my document and see how can you contribute more.
yes,
And suppose that we integrate with your model with this fit for purpose model for Bernie Kelly.
yeah,
Now, that is my suggestion, and maybe I can ask Bernie Kelly another time and you a little, and
yeah.
maybe uh, link some things and if maybe see some things in the meeting what we can do together.
Yeah, sure. So I'll look into it. And before we close this one, so how do you measure your customer satisfaction? So are they happy because once you sell your service and they start using it, so do you follow up with them, or are there any net promoter score or any metrics you measure it so that you make sure the customer will continue using your product, and also they introduce new customers?
Yeah. Now, what you say is more this matrix are important, but on the end. The first is pre-sales is the implementation part in and there and do it yourself and stay around them. And it's your service part is the biggest one. There you go to the doctor and you tell everything by the doctor if you have pain
Mm,
and by a problem. Satisfaction means customer intimacy. And that is the attitude. Most people say they're talking over the customer to sell only, has no idea to listen.
mm,
It's more to listen, to see what's going on, and permanently see how to. Because the cheapest way for selling is increase. It's not a salesperson, but is helping the customer to optimize it, and
mm.
then the customer will evangelize to you. Now, if that can be done better over time to scale it up, and but I believe it with your matrix and with your models, that could be on the end also a good combination.
Mm.
It's what you're doing is good, but first should always be the personal element.
Okay.
Now, and your methodology, together with what I mentioned, even Bernie's methodology, with and if you see your heart framework and all the other elements, with they call it the steeple model,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
social elements. Now, this all to do with take not the customer centric, take the user centric,
Mm.
because the customer is an entity, it's the enterprise, and who
Yeah.
knows the customer. You should bring it down to the latest moment, the job to be done. What Clayton Christensen is mentioned.
Mm.
And if the job to be done is good, I tell it I tell it to my neighbor.
Mm. Yeah.
You should bring it back to the latest component, and with Kubernetes and
Mm.
with all this new microservice technology, also you have the elements to bring the latest components together and unite them.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I can understand, like so it's a kind of word of mouth. We say like, so once the customer feels it, and it's not about a customer, it's about the end user. So you
Yeah,
mean the
always.
user? Yeah. If the end user feels happy, and then it will spread to
Yeah,
others.
but how the first is start with respect. Do you have respect for the end user and do you like it to
Mm.
support them? It's not for the it's not for the money what you're making by your company inside and the adoptions, etc. It's first the attitude.
Mm.
If you go home the day, why should you not work an hour longer and satisfy your customer? And by the way, that brings the highest value. You don't do it for that. You do
Yeah.
it from attitude.
Okay. Yeah. So you are bringing a more user experience, and
Yeah.
then so it is yeah, it is spreading on its own way. Like it's not like you take a survey or you take a feedback and then ask them.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then maybe one element. Here we have, I have here, I changed from Apple to a Google phone. I
Okay.
do the same as Apple phone, but there are 15 products who are united by billions of users.
Mm.
All together with optimized UX, how you're traveling on the car, how you're doing how you email. Now,
Mm.
it's everything here. And there we learn if you could have the same UX elements already here for the customer,
Mm.
and all this we only I have to combine my app together.
Yeah.
And it's extremely optimized for UX. And that is what Peter Drucker mentioned. Then we are helping the customer being twice more productive. And then we win, what I mentioned when he went on my office, then we went on the EBITDA.
Mm.
Then the EBITDA of the company can be 5 times better. If you can do it with half of the employees, your EBITDA can be 5 times better.
Okay, so it's a very good advice. And so your view, like so you want to bring the human element, the human touch, and the customer satisfaction. You measure based on the end user experience.
I like the models like you and even Bernie's model, because those models where you're working on
Mhm.
could be productized, and then what I'm doing can be scalable.
Okay, yeah. And so, how do you measure your success? So, what is
But
the
the structure is simple. First of all, it's everyday joy, and so long as it's private, who cares? That means, but it's I like it, and we are going now. And what we see now, we are growing 60% a year.
Okay,
Now on this moment, no, and that is for me good satisfaction
okay,
uh, doing that.
yeah,
Now and then, who cares? I give all the freedom for the people inside. Let them. The matrix are terrible. You sometimes you measure too much, and you need more people, also consultants, etc., for measure the measurement.
yeah. Yeah, so basically you measure your success based on the growth. Like you already see the growth, and that's your measurement. Yeah, that's good to understand. And one last thing, like so how do you attract the first customer? Because
Yeah,
so all these elements are
I've done that many times. And the first customer means no idea, but you have to give everything. You have to give 10 times more. That's from yourself. That means you have to swimming, you have to go in the water and save for life. You have to save a customer who is thinking,
mm,
who is no longer living. You have
mm,
to, that means you need a pain point to fix that for a customer.
okay.
Try to find a real deep pain points.
I understand. Then, so what is your mode of reach? Do you go with online mode, or how do you?
No,
Uh,
the read is that means by example, you do every day you're in an elevator. I see you for 3 minutes. No,
mm,
then it's Kipling is saying you are a man, my son. If you say this moment from anywhere where Kipling saying, if you
mm,
touch me that moment, then it's so in me. I preach to you.
mm,
You evangelize. That is
mm,
the attitude should be the whole day in you.
mm,
If you're out in an airplane sitting to something, could be maybe your first customer.
mm,
It's not predicted. It
mm.
cannot be predicted. Could be
Okay.
online, offline.